Welcome to this video on how to put together a pico-mac-nano from the components. This whole kit here with everything you need to build a standard edition pico-mac-nano is available from web store at onebit-rainbow.com, or you can buy any of the separate bits if you want to 3D print your own case or if you want to get your own zero. So basically you can mix and match, or you can get the whole kit with everything you need to get it up and running. So we've got the case, which is in two main parts, plus a couple of extra bits. There's a tiny little pop-out panel at the back there, which is if you fit the optional battery power module, that pops out so that the switch can poke through. And you can probably see there's a little piece in there clipped in the bottom, which provides the reset and boot select buttons. Don't worry about those, they're just there. Apart from the case, we've got the LCD panel, little 2-inch LCD panel. We've got the Waveshare Pico Zero, which is pre-flashed with the pico-mac software. So basically you don't have to add the software, it's on there already. We've got the tiny little micro SD board. We've got the interconnect board, which is custom built to connect all these things together in a very cramped space. We have the hex key which comes with it, plus a couple of bolts which is used to screw the case together once you've finished assembling. On top of that, we've got an accessory. This is on-the-go adapter or OTG adapter. This allows you to combine a USB-C power and a USB device like a mouse in through the single USB port which the pico-mac-nano has. So you'll need that later. We also have the hex key and the bolts. We've got a little set of 4 rubber feet there, which is you can fit if you so want. And lastly, I think we include this tool, which is, I will show you what it's for later, but it's a very useful little thing. There are no real special tools you need other than that, but I have got here a knife which can be used for just in the event that there's any little tiny bits of artifact from the 3D printing. 3D printing is not an exact process like injection molding. Every print is slightly different, and as we'll see later, there are cases where it can be useful to have a sharp knife just to get rid of any little bits that shouldn't be there. And lastly, you see I've got a marker pen here. Right, let's head in. The marker pen we will use first. I'm just going to move some of these to the side so we can focus on the LCD panel. The LCD panel slides down in there, but because of the tight constraints, these white lines down the side of the LCD panel are just about visible. So what we do is we just put a marker pen line down from nearly at the top down to a bit over halfway. It doesn't need to go all the way down because not all the LCD panel is visible. Try not to get this on your fingers, because if you do and then you pick up the case, it'll transfer and probably not come out. So give that a few seconds to dry. Then we will put the LCD panel into the case. You can see here the brass nuts that the bolts screw into. We pre-fit those for you so they're heat pressed into the plastic. So this is the slot that you would put the LCD panel in. We'll need to peel off the little protective film first, otherwise it won't go in properly. The other thing I'm going to do is curl this flex cable slightly backwards. So this is the front of the screen, that's the back. I'm going to curl it like that, just bend it very slightly to get that curve on it. That just can be useful later. Then you insert the flex cable into that slot, and the LCD panel should slide down without any resistance at all, with the flex cable curving forward like that. If when you're pressing it, the LCD into that slot, you feel resistance or it's dragging on something, check the slot, and again, if there's any little artifacts from the 3D print, trim them off, because if there is anything pressing on the front of the LCD, it's unlikely to break it, but it will. You can get white or lighter patches on the LCD, which kind of spoil things. So that's how the LCD goes in. Next, we're going to put the board together. So there's only two components that we need to plug into here. There's a couple of sockets on the top. This is the top, that's the bottom. It looks the other way around, but you'll see how it goes. These are optional ports that we won't be using today. That's for the battery power module, and that one's for a speaker module that's coming. So first of all, let's put the Pico in. The board's clearly labelled up. The Pico goes in here with the USB port pointing forward. So I'm going to get the Pico here. I'm going to line the pins up. The easiest way to do it is with that full length 9-pin connector. You'll notice there aren't sockets for all the pins. That's fine, but make sure that every socket has a pin going into it, and that it goes in straight. Push it straight down until there's no gap between the yellow and the black socket. There you go, that's the Pico in place. Next is the SD card or micro SD card socket. That just goes into that 6-pin connector, and you can see they should butt up perfectly. If it does seem to scrape on there, so it doesn't want to kind of go down next to it, just put a little bit of force. You should find it goes perfectly next to the board, so it definitely shouldn't be riding up over the side of the Pico Zero. And again, there should be no gap here between the black header and the black socket. That's those two in. So last thing we have to do is to connect the LCD flex. Now this is the connector. It has a clamp bar which lift up at either end. I don't know if you can see that. I'm going to lift it up now because it's easier to do it while it's out than when the board's connected. And I'm going to pick up the board, and this goes into these two grooves, that one and that one. And this is the second place where you will want to check those grooves to see if there is any artifacts. It's a little bit there, which I'm just going to trim out because that might stop it going in properly. Other side looks pretty clean. So this is going in like this. So with the Pico Zero and the SD card slot hanging underneath, the board goes in. I'm going to push this edge in first and then slide that one, and it should be pretty stiff. Now definitely hold it like this while you're pushing it in. Don't put your finger on the LCD panel, don't press there, don't press on the top here because that's weaker. It's strongest around here, so you can, and you want to really push it until there is no gap there or there. It really must butt up. If you've got the slightest gap there, the case won't go together properly because everything is a snug fit. Okay, so that's the board in. So we just need to connect the LCD now. Now we provide a special tool for that, as I mentioned earlier. This is because the vertical flex connector here is quite fragile because it stands up. It's quite easy when you're pressing down for it to kind of flip forward or backwards and just snap. So we designed this for our own use so that we could safely put the flex cables in without causing problems. So I lifted up the clamp bar earlier, so that's already up. You'll want to keep a finger on the LCD to stop it sliding out, because at the moment there's nothing holding it in place. And what I normally find is if you just use your finger, the sort of natural tackiness of your finger is enough to pull that flex cable back behind the bar and push it in like that. It wants to be central, it wants to be level. I think that is. Then this tool just goes vertically with the gap at the front here over, I don't know if you can see it, I'm not going to push it down yet, it just sits over there, and once it's over it gets you a good strong hold to be able to push down. Have you heard that click? It's nice because it applies even pressure all the way along the bar rather than pressing one end and the other, or yeah, it removes a lot of the strain. Now conveniently it's pretty easy to tell if that flex cable hasn't gone in level. There's a darker brown strip on the end of the flex cable which is just hidden by that black bar. If after pushing the clamping bar down you can see that dark strip at one end or the other, it means the flex cable has gone in at a slight angle, in which case you want to lift the bar. You can use a tool like this, don't use anything that's too sharp, just to lift the end of the bar there and there. Okay, now we've got everything connected, we can put the case together. Now the two bolts go into those recesses that you can see there, the recess. We provide this hex key with the two bolts. I'm just going to put that in there. You can start screwing the bolts into the hole and just do it up until it's flush with the plastic here. And if you're ever opening the pico-mac up, you don't need to take it out further than that. Leave the bolts in because it helps not to lose them. But if they're out flush with the plastic, then the case will open. Just going to do the same one there, just a few turns, just to get it to hold in there. Now we're going to put the two together. The little piece I mentioned here inside, which is the buttons that line up with the two buttons on the pico. The pico can catch on these as you put it in, so if you're pushing it in and it sticks, don't force it, just tilt the back, the top of the front back a little bit and put it in, and it should go in. The LCD will normally pop up because it's not held in place until the case is on, so you may just have to drop that down. And if everything goes together, and again you need to check the alignment of the USB-C port and the micro SD port in the back there. If the case won't go together all the way, that's probably the reason. They haven't quite lined up, so just wiggle them around. If you've got something that's non-conductive or not non-scratching, non-metal, you can always move them very slightly to line them up, but it's pretty accurate, and they tend to drop in naturally. So having done that, all I need to do is to put them together. Now if you use a hex key a lot to get this open and closed, it's going to get really frustrating, in which case you might want to buy a hex driver like this, which does the same job but just much easier. So this is a 1.5mm hex driver that we can use to do up the screws. Don't over tighten them because they'll just rip the brass nuts out of the front case. There we go. And it's together. So if I grab a USB-C power cable, plug it in there, we should see LEDs start to come on there, and the little pico-mac-nano come to life. There it is, booting. It lives, great. As long as the red light is flashing, it means the emulator is running. The R button on the bottom is just a reset button, which does the same thing as pulling the power out and putting it back in again, but just less strain on the socket. So if it does crash or locks up running something, you can just press the R button like that, it'll click and it'll cycle round again and reboot. Cool. But how do we control it? We need to connect a mouse. So the next thing is to show you the adapter that we ship with it. This is an OTG or on-the-go adapter, and it allows you to connect power as well as a USB-C peripheral device like this mouse into the same USB-C connector. So I've got the power plugged in there, I've got the mouse there. If I plug this in now, it should boot again. Only this time I've got a functioning mouse. Hopefully you can see that. Seems to work with every USB mouse I've tried, so hopefully you won't have any problem with it. If it does lock up for any reason, you can just press the R button on the bottom to reset it. Okay, but what if you wanted to connect a keyboard and a mouse? Well, you do it in the same way, but you will need to have a keyboard that has a USB socket for a mouse. So you plug the keyboard into here and the mouse into the keyboard, so it daisy chains. It doesn't work with every keyboard. I've tried some that it works and some it doesn't, so it's a bit hit and miss that. We make no guarantees, unfortunately, on that. It's just the functionality of the simple USB driver that's part of the pico-mac-nano software. So that's it. I hope you have fun assembling and playing with your pico-mac-nano. Thanks for watching.